I resigned during a meeting with a huge client. I worked at this digital agency that was actually a pretty big deal in our area. My job was to keep all the software running for our biggest clients and make sure nothing ever went down. I also managed a small team that did the same thing for other companies. The problem was I was drowning in work and nobody seemed to care. Every time I asked for a raise, they'd give me some excuse. Oh, the budget's tight this year. We'll revisit this next quarter. Or my favorite, we gave you a 2% raise last year, so you're all set. 2%. That didn't even cover inflation. Meanwhile, I'm working like 60 hours a week making sure their systems don't crash. One of our clients had this 99.999% uptime requirement in their contract. That's basically 5 minutes of downtime allowed per year. 5 minutes. The stress was insane. I kept asking for help. Just one person to share the workload with. Someone to cover when I needed to take a day off or go to a doctor's appointment. They kept saying they'd look into it, but it never happened. Because from their perspective, everything was running fine, so why spend the money? What they didn't realize was that everything was running fine because I was literally killing myself to keep it that way. I was getting like 4 hours of sleep some nights. My girlfriend was threatening to leave me because I never had time for her. I hadn't taken a real vacation in almost 3 years. Then came my 6-month performance review. I walked in there ready to lay it all out. I told my manager Lisa that I couldn't keep doing this, that I needed either more money or more help or both. I explained how my mental health was suffering and I was completely burned out. Lisa just nodded along and took notes. Then at the end she goes, "I really appreciate everything you do, but unfortunately we can't approve any raises right now. Company policy, company policy." Like that was supposed to make me feel better. I left that meeting so angry I could barely see straight. That night I updated my resume and started applying to jobs. Within 2 weeks I had 3 interviews lined up. One of them was with our biggest competitor. Same industry, bigger company, better reputation. The interview went amazing. They were impressed with my experience and the fact that I'd been managing such critical systems with basically no support. They offered me the job a week later. 30% pay increase, normal 40-hour work weeks, an actual team to work with. I asked for a few days to think about it, but honestly I already knew my answer. The timing of what happened next was just pure luck. We had this huge in-person meeting scheduled with our second biggest client, contract renewal time. These guys paid us like $400,000 a year, so losing them would be a disaster. I had to be there because I managed all their systems and they wanted to discuss the service level agreement details. The meeting was at this fancy conference room downtown. Lisa was there. 3 executives from my company, including the VP, and 4 people from the client side. We're sitting around this long table going through the contract page by page. I had my laptop open supposedly to reference technical specs if anyone had questions. But really, I was reading through the job offer from the competitor one more time, just making sure I understood all the details. Lisa noticed me staring at my screen. She kept giving me these looks like pay attention. But I wasn't reviewing technical specs. I was reading the part about my new salary and benefits and thinking about how much better my life was about to get. That's when I decided to just do it, right there in the meeting. I opened my email, found the offer letter, and replied to their HR person. "I accept the position. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited to join the team." Hit send. 30 seconds later, my phone buzzed. They'd already sent back the official contract. I opened it on my laptop, filled in the signature field, and sent it back. The whole thing took maybe 5 minutes. Then I composed an email to HR, Lisa, and all 3 executives at the table. "This is my formal resignation effective immediately. Thank you for the opportunity, but I've accepted a position elsewhere. Send." I looked up from my laptop and just waited. It took about 15 seconds for people to start checking their phones. The VP's face went from normal to bright red in like 2 seconds. He actually stood up and said, "We need to pause this meeting." The client people looked super confused. Lisa was staring at her phone with her mouth open. One of the other executives said, "Did you really just quit during a client meeting?" I just nodded. They asked the client to excuse us for a moment and basically dragged me out to the hallway. The VP was so mad he was shaking. "What the hell are you thinking? Do you have any idea what you just did?" I explained everything. How I'd been asking for help for years. How they kept denying my raises. How I was working myself to death while they did nothing. I told them I got an offer for 30% more money and I just accepted it. Lisa tried to backtrack immediately. She's like, "Wait, we can match that offer. We can get you a team. Let's talk about this." But I was already done. I told them my decision was final and walked out. The client meeting continued without me, but apparently it was a mess. They ended up renewing their contract that year, but the maintenance started falling apart almost immediately. Without me there to hold everything together, the system started having problems. Downtime increased, response times got slower. A year later, that client pulled their entire contract. They specifically cited inadequate maintenance and failure to meet the uptime requirements. My old company lost $400,000 in annual revenue because they wouldn't give me a raise or hire one extra person to help me. I've been at the new company for 3 years now. Got promoted twice. Actually have a life outside of work. My old employer has been laying people off and downsizing because they keep losing clients. Last I heard, they're about half the size they used to be. But sure, that's because of a harsh market. Nothing to do with how they treated their employees.